Hey, how's everybody doing today? We're getting into this video reaction, and this is over a short debate over Jor- Jordan Peterson and Trump, and we're gonna see and listen in on this.
Listening to
Yeah.
all of this about Trump and watching how this conversations go in the U.S. And I have one question about it. I mean, there's all these people in the U.S. who are on the conservative side who are aligned with Trump for all sorts of reasons. And there's all this tension around his presidency and attempts to pull him out of his office for various reasons. And like, what do you think will happen if that comes to pass? What do you think will happen to these people that have identified with Trump? And like, how is it that that Democratic types, for example, are holding out their hand to say to these conservative types, sort of like, welcome back into the fold? Because it looks to me, from an outsider's perspective, that your country is polarizing in a way that's not good, and that people are going after Trump. And I understand that. It's not like I don't understand that, but there's all these people that elected him and that are identified with him, and they're not taking this well, and so, well, they're not. It's not, and you might not think they're very bright and all of that, and they're backwards and all of those things, but you need to have respect for the rest of your citizens, and if your country isn't going to pull itself apart.
I want to pause right there, and that's a question that I see that he's asking, and personally, I'm not, big on left or right. I'm independent. So you anybody gonna comment, you're for Trump, that's not gonna be right. But that is a question. Because right now, the way US economy is, people are, first this was made 2 years before Trump. This was published 2 years before Trump left office. This pre-pandemic. This stuff was asked. This was like 2018, 2019. Let's say around there. So this was the biggest question. What happens because you stretch? As he's stating, you've torn these people down. And what I'd put it as, you've demoralized these voters for Trump. And that's the question is, where is their dignity or humanity after this happens? Because people they went after Trump, but they also called, Hillary Clinton said, the basket of deplorables. This is, you kind of crush these people. So, where, these are things that people actually have to answer and things. Let me know in the comments what you think, because, this is kind of, the thing. Because I'm looking at this, and if you destroy or demoralize a group of people, a large group, say 60 million people, what is the repercussion? What is the problems that are going to come from that? But let's go back, keep going on with his thing. But I was just in my head there.
And I really see this happening from an outsider's perspective when I come down here. And I lived in the States for a while, and it wasn't like this before.
If he was just a regular Republican president with Republican policies, I would say you'd have a point. But what is so alarming is the assault on democratic norms, what we were talking about here today. Things like threatening to put people in jail, threatening to put journalists in jail, wanting military parades, praising dictators, wanting to be a dictator. I mean, We are at a moment here. I try to impress on the people who are too young to remember a lot of presidents and a lot of elections, how incredibly different this is than anything that ever came before. I never much liked the other Republicans who were in office, but I have a renewed respect for them. George Bush and Mitt Romney would not have tried to pull this shit. They just wouldn't.
What about Nixon?
Nixon got caught, and he gave himself up, basically.
Well, although this president makes the Watergate burglars look brilliant.
Right.
Well, but it seems to me that it's not.
Point, we can be as tough as we're being on the president. I think we should, for all the reasons you just said, Bill, without telling his supporters that they're stupid, without saying basket of deplorables. If we want to bring them around to what I would say is a more...
See right there, he admits. See, they're already admitting on there, and I think him or the other guy is actually in some type of criminal case. I'm pretty sure, because I just don't know exactly off the top of my head, because I don't know every one of these. I know Bill Maher. I know Jordan Peterson. That's about as far as it goes. But they admit right here, they actually, and they also do a little tearing in the process. So are they helping, or are they still wanting to take that shot at those people too? See, this is, it's kind of like, 'cause I've been seeing this. And that's why I really tried to stay away from these Trump type things. It's kind of hot topic, but I also wanted to, get people's perspectives on this. So let's keep going.
more enlightened kind of thinking. And
I
if
agree.
we want them to see Donald Trump as someone who's turned the presidency into one long infomercial for Mar-a-Lago, we can do that without saying to them, you've been duped, you're chumps, you're dumb, you're deplorable. And I think we need to talk to them with more generosity than we do.
I'm
That's
confused
true.
about how this dovetails with your thesis that the left is too preoccupied with being non-confrontational. Right?
The left is too
Well, just
preoccupied
that
with
we
being,
are-
that is
That's
definitely
interesting.
not
Okay,
right.
Yeah,
no,
that's-
all right.
no, that's
I'm
a good
paraphrasing,
question.
But the idea that liberals, especially intellectuals, are preoccupied with politically correct speech, that they're
Oh,
not.
I see. What
And yet.
No, they're too preoccupied with identity politics by a large margin. And they tend to categorize everyone by their ethnicity and their sex and their gender. And I think all that does is turn people into tribal actors, and that the end result of that is
But
catastrophe.
weren't you also saying, though, that the left is too worried about offending people?
I think that goes along with...
I will.
Yes,
Right.
yes. Well, that goes with...
But then on the other hand, when the left, for example, offends people in the political sphere, you're questioning whether that's somehow bad for society writ large.
Well, I'm concerned about, I think that those two issues are somewhat separate. I'm concerned about the dialogue in the United States around the presidency pulling people farther and farther apart. It has nothing to do with the behavior of Trump. I think this is an independent issue. You can say positive or negative
But
things
he's
about
only
Trump
there
as
because
he
they
might.
support him. You see,
I
mean,
know.
that's the thing.
On that note, the way she was like, said you're saying the left is too occupied with, I'll put it, political correctness. The way I look at it as they're always playing the political correctness card. And I guess she's saying, well, now when we offend people in the political atmosphere, I don't think it's the offend people in the political atmosphere. It's the people, if I'm wrong, but it's not going at Trump. It's people have curved and literally struck the voters. They've taken shots and, as I mentioned, demoralized not Trump, but they've used their tactics on his voting bloc, meaning the human beings that live in the American society that voted for him, you've demoralized them. And that's, trying not to use harsh language, but that kind of, when I look at the whole process of everything that went on over the last 6 years, that's kind of what it looks like. Is one party decided, well, we're going to go and demoralize these voters because they voted with Trump. I ain't saying anything, I don't like when the other side does it. I don't like when Republicans turn around and they try and demoralize the other people. But let's keep going.
But that's the issue. That's the issue, is they did support him. And
without the circus, he's just a lonely clown.
Yeah.
But he has these people in Congress who are enablers, and this base that it is a cult of personality, not unlike dictatorships we've seen in the past. I mean, he said once, famously, I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and not lose any fans.
Yes,
And he has proved that to be almost true. I mean, we cannot imagine what he would do where they would turn on him, because I don't know what that would be. I don't think it's anything, because whatever it was, he would just say, well, it's fake news.
But okay, so imagine he's impeached, just for the sake of argument.
Impeach or convicted.
Okay, either of those. But
I don't think that holds, he did say that, but to try and put him at any level of Hitler or Mao or the Soviet Union, because those people literally went out and they shot people, and people stood alongside them and said, yes, you're doing a good job. Beautiful. I mean, Hitler did a genocide. And so I'm not saying Trump's language was proper or even good to say. It's the fact that trying to compare him from saying something, which everybody keeps cheering in the political atmosphere, freedom of speech. He said something as a hypothetical. Because I went back when they were complaining about this, and it seemed like he was being he was, making a hyperbolical decision or, a theory. It was like, I could do this and get away with it. Not defending what it's saying. It's not smart to do. But to try and say he's in line with and to call those supporters, those people who voted for him in a cult, get me wrong, but doesn't the other side have a cult too? See, that's, the funny thing is each side sits there and throws stuff at each other. But, I think each side has their little cult.
But it seems to me...
Well, that matters. One, he has to leave.
Yeah, no, it's not an unimportant detail, but it still seems to me that it leaves you with the problem of what do you do with the disaffected 40% that are going to be very unhappy about this, independent of Trump's behavior.
Kind of like the Sunnis after we kicked over Saddam.
Well, that's a hell of a precedent
ISIS.
to cite.
Yes,
right.
That's what I worry about.
Let me
Trump
suggest
support.
that this is an argument, looking for an argument rather than a solution. We're not waiting for impeachment. We're making sure that people understand Donald Trump cannot stop us today. Donald Trump could not stop me from the first net neutrality bill to make sure people have access to the internet. He could not stop us from doing that. He cannot stop us He cannot stop us from acting on climate change with all this bloviating saying it's just a hoax. He can't stop us from fighting climate change. He can't stop us from having the best paid family leave
Well,
and sick leave policy. He can't stop us.
he-
When we demonstrate
You
people
can't stop us
progress
from
in our
boosting
states,
Washington State.
No, but he certainly.
No one
That's an
can
absurd-
stop
we have-
us
He
from
certainly,
boosting
he certainly
Washington
is
State.
stopping us from protecting the environment. He has signed executive orders, right? The first thing he did in office was to
but-
sign an order that said, hey, you want to dump your coal sludge in the streams? Go right ahead. The head of the EPA is Scott Pruitt. He's reversed all of
no, he
this.
just changed it to the Environmental Pollutants Association.
I know, but to say he can't stop us
And he's
is-
changed the tax landscape everywhere.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can't do anything in your state
and he's
to do away
appointing
with. Yeah.
he's appointing crazy judges left and
Yes.
right.
So here's the
he's
good news.
changing things as we speak.
we're not-
The state he's picking crazy judges left and right. Yeah, the left picks out crazy judges, the right picks out crazy judges. So, he did make a true statement there. The left picks out their crazies, the right picks out who they feel good with. And truthfully, when it comes to the Bill of Rights so far, I would lean a little bit closer to the center right than center left, because the way everything's going, the center left ain't there no more, and the people on the left are somewhat destroying and canceling and throwing everybody into the fire. So I'm pretty sure I'd like to be independent, but I'd probably, my voting's kind of, more lean towards the center right. But this is where I kind of get confused about, they speak, well, yes, but he goes on and tells people on his television channel, he states Trump supporters could turn into ISIS or something. Now, I mean, you can make that theory question, but it's kind of going a little stretch too far, too. So, Bill Maher wants to, but he's a comedian. Well, I've heard some people say, well, when does it go too far? Well, as I said, these guys get on here and they state crazy things under comedy, and everybody gets a laugh at it. Now, Trump people get to say certain things. They get put on a special watch list. So, yeah, I'm not sure that's a fair reason. I would look as a double standard. But let me know what you guys think. We'll see if it's got a little bit more.
We don't cover it because of Stormy Daniels, but all of this is going on. What can I say? He's okay.
Yeah. All right. And I just realized who that lawyer is. That's Stormy Daniels' lawyer beside Bill Maher. And he's in jail, I think, right now for he did a lot of criminal stuff. We'll just put it that way. He did quite a bit of stuff. They got him in the slammer. So Bill Maher is sitting there talking to somebody that ended up, 2.5 years later, something like that, got convicted and sent to jail for, I would want to say defrauding companies and conning them out of their money and stuff, trying to play con man. So, but yeah, let me know at the bottom what you guys think. Please give me opinions on this, and we will see you in the next one.